Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Let's Create video. My name is Sarah, and we're going to do typography animals today. The supplies you're going to need today are a piece of paper, a pencil, and some black markers, preferably a fine tipped and a regular tipped marker. And then some optional things you can bring into the mix are a printed picture, some coloring materials, and tape. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to use a printed picture of a duck, and I'm going to use that to trace. So we're going to use this super awesome magic trick, and you're going to cover the back of your picture, your printed picture, with pencil. So the darker you color with the pencil, the better. And you're going to cover that whole area where your picture is, whatever you're going to trace, with the pencil, and then when you flip it over, you'll be able to trace on top of it, and it'll transfer the pencil to the blank piece of paper underneath. I taped it down just to make sure it doesn't move around on me while I'm tracing. You don't need to do this, but it is helpful if it starts to wiggle around on you. So I'm tracing as many of the details as I want, so I want to make sure I'm getting all those spots where his feathers are darker and lighter, where his face is. So now I have my duck, the traced picture. Pretty awesome magic trick, right? And I'm going to make that diagonal line in the background because I think that'll make it interesting. And then I'm going to start writing and drawing some words. So I'm going to use different words that describe this duck. So, and maybe some quotes and stuff like that. So this kind of duck is a Muscovy duck. It's the kind of duck that has all the red clumpy stuff on their face. You'll usually see them around retention ponds and stuff. So I just wrote Muscovy Duck really big at the top. I kind of made it like bubble letters. And then I'm going to write some other things like quotes about ducks, like if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck. I found some other quotes online about ducks. I'm just going to write some words that have to do with ducks, like wings, webbed feet, swimming, paddling, whatever you can think of. So if you pick if you find an animal like a fish, you can write words like scales and swimming and gills. I mean, anything you can think of that has to do with the animal that you're drawing. So I'm going to fill in all the space around my duck with different words and quotes and descriptive words, things that describe the animal. And once I finish with that, this is where I'm going to go in with the markers. And I decided to outline my duck with the fine tipped marker, but you can outline your animal with the regular tipped marker if you want. It's totally up to you. The reason that I wanted to use two different kinds of markers or two different thicknesses is so that it just makes the picture a little bit more dynamic if I have different thick and thin lines and darker parts and lighter parts. So now I'm going to go over my letters and my words. So for this one I'm using the thicker marker because I'm going to end up filling those in later. And I want the words around my duck and the letters to be a little darker and thicker than the thin marker that I used for the duck, so that the animal stands out from the words. This is a cool project too, because if you've missed out on some writing practice at school or some vocabulary practice, you can use this to practice your words, your letters, coming up with vocabulary words and understanding descriptive words and adjectives. I like when art and other subjects, school subjects, get mixed together. That quote was, get your ducks in a row. And this one says, just keep swimming. I know that's a fish that says that, but ducks swim too, kind of. And that's a quote that I found on the internet that says, be like a duck, calm on the surface, but always paddling like the dickens underneath. And then these are just descriptive words. So I have claws and feathers and wings and a bill. And quack. I have all of those words. Ooh, also, male and female ducks. Female ducks are hens, like with chickens, but a male duck is called a drake. That's something new that I learned. So I'm going over some of these words and some of these letters to make them a little bit thicker because I want there to be a variety. I want there to be different thicknesses and have some be darker and lighter. It just makes the picture a lot more interesting. And I'm going to fill in these letters up at the top. Careful around the duck's head so I don't scribble over his face. And you can already tell where I colored in the letters behind the duck's head that it makes the duck's face stand out a lot more because it has that difference in the value or in the darkness behind it. So now I'm just making sure I got all those spaces filled in and there aren't any kind of empty spots that look weird. And I always give my art and my pictures that I draw a couple of once-overs before I decide they're finished. I always take a step back and look at it, and I follow my guts and I listen to my instincts because I'll look at it and see, oh, there's something weird right here. Oh, this is missing something. And then if I decide that, then I'll go ahead and fix it. I'll make it better. So here I'm just adding some more words and stuff like that in between the other words just to fill it in a little bit so it doesn't look so empty in some of those spots. And there's that guy. So that's the final product, and I ended up coloring the duck so he stands out even more from the background. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all stay safe and stay inspired.